So I went and found Vince. He's like, hey, your facial expressions was great. Your verbiage was great. Your selling was terrific. I have no choice but to hire you. I'll be in touch.
Rewind, recap, relive. For over 50 episodes, the revolutionary force in wrestling interview.
Yeah, so that particular day, they were looking for somebody to wrestle Braun Strowman in his re-debut because he had originally debuted on the main roster as one of the with the Wyatts, as one of the
Right.
Wyatts, and this time they cooled him off a little bit, took him away from that, and they were going to bring him back to be his own character. And so I remember there were 6 of us there, the extra talent, and we're like, hey, one of you guys are going to wrestle Braun Strowman tonight. It's going to be real quick, and then Arn Anderson kind of said, all right, guys, whoever throws the best punch gets the match. And he picked me first because I was the smallest guy there. Yeah, so I was the smallest guy out of the bunch. So he picked me to go first. So I threw a punch, boom. He goes, all right, you get the match. He didn't even like check the rest of the guys. Which I was like,
phenomenal
oh,
fun.
Yeah, these guys are going to hate me. So anyway, he pulls me in the ring. He's like, all right, now punch him. And he points to Strowman. I walked up and did it. He goes, good. You did it the same exact way as you did it over there to one of the other guys, which was an extra. He said, so that means you're not, you're not like scared or, just like nervous or anything. So that's good. And then like, I'm walking away and Byron Saxton comes up to me. He's like, hey, they wrote you a promo. Like we're doing this thing every week with Strowman where he's going to fight an extra talent for the next 6 weeks, and you guys get basically say your last words before he kills you. So Jimmy Jacobs handed me the promo. He was the writer at the time, and I'm like reading it over, and I knew I was going to get to punch Strowman twice. So I asked Jimmy Jacobs, who I knew a little bit from the Indies before we were on some of the same shows together, so we were familiar with each other. And I said, hey, man, like I'm hitting him twice. Can I say any man with 2 hands has a fighting chance? I said, I think it's a cool line. I was like, it's kind of play off of a Rocky 5. Rocky says, I figure if a man has 2 hands, he has a chance. That's a line from the Rocky 5 movie.
Right.
And he goes, oh, yeah, man, say it. That's a great line. I was like, all right, cool. So, like, that's just crazy that, like, because he could have told me no, and I would have never said it. But that's crazy. That's what got Vince McMahon's attention. As soon as I said that line, I got his attention because, like, later on, I learned from, like, Chris Jericho and Enzo, who were in Gorilla watching the match while Vince was sitting there. I heard everything Vince said and was doing. So when I said that line, Vince was like, wow, that's a great promo. And then he started watching Strowman squash me, and I'm doing the facial expressions and I'm selling, and I'm putting whatever I can into it. And then after the match, I get to the back, and Arn's waiting for me. Arn Anderson. He's like, "Hey, Vince wants to see you." I was like, "Oh man, I'm in trouble," because like I walked down the ramp, and like you're not allowed to walk down the ramp. You're supposed to walk to the side of the ramp if you're extra talent. So I'm thinking he's going to yell at me from walking down the ramp, and he didn't. So I went and found Vince. He's like, "Hey, your facial expressions was great. Your verbiage was great." He goes, your selling was terrific. I have no choice but to hire you. I'll be in touch. It was crazy. Yeah. It's like, what? So, yeah, that's how it happened, man. It's just one of the craziest wrestling stories ever, really.
Yeah, seriously. That is like going back to, I mean, that's a dream, right? You're living your dream. Is that the first time that happened? Like something like that, like an extra talent being hired basically on the spot?
I mean, I'm not sure. Like, I know there's been like the 1-2-3 kid. They brought him in, but that was an idea they had for him. I know like Colin Delaney got hired after a few weeks when he was doing extra work. It was kind of like the same character as mine, but like not as pushed, or maybe for whatever reason. But yeah, like I don't know. I just know what he said that like I went to find Strowman to thank him for the match. Then I like sat down in catering and just like kind of stared at the wall, like, wait, what? What did he just? And then when I was leaving the arena that night, Triple H grabbed me and he said, "Hey, he's not kidding. He loves you, kid. He's like he's going to hire you."
Wow.
And he goes, "So just be safe, and just wait for the call. And the call happened 6 weeks later. Like I was like, I didn't get any sleep for 6 weeks. I was like, is he gonna call? Like, is somebody gonna call? And then finally, Vince called me and he's like, "Hey, pal, you ready to come to TV? We're ready for you." I'm like, let me check my schedule. Yeah, yes, I'm ready. Like you know, it's just nutty. It's very, very crazy.
It's so crazy. It's cool that you did it yourself too with that line. Obviously, it's a line everyone it's synonymous with you, but the fact that you came up with it yourself, I think, is really awesome too.
Oh man, like yeah, it would like I wouldn't feel the same way about it if somebody had written it down for me. Because
Yeah,
I would always give them the credit if it were that way. But it was just something I don't know. It just clicked in my head because I knew I was punching him. If you go back and watch the match, I punch him. It's the first thing that happens. And then I go to and I punch him again, and then he just wails on me. But I don't know, just because I knew I was hitting him twice, that it just popped in my head.
you had some really cool moments with Braun afterwards, and you said you went to even go up and shake his hand to thank him for the match. What is your relationship like with Braun? Because I think it's cool throughout your career too. They always made callbacks, right, to that first match with Braun. So did you guys click?
So yeah, when he got released back in 2020, I saw him on the Indies a little bit, and man, like I was clamoring for us to have a match on the Indies. I was
Yeah.
like I don't think I love Braun. He's a great guy, but like the business, he hadn't been around wrestling as much as like I have. So like he's probably only been around at this point, maybe like total 8 years or whatever. But like the business, like it would have been really cool if him and I would have did an indie match. And I wanted to so bad, but he was trying to do his own thing with control your narrative and
Mhm.
EC3 and all. And I understood that. I didn't fit that mold. They wanted like straight wrestlers, and I'm like a character comedy guy. But yeah, like no, when we see each other, very cordial. Like I remember seeing him in a bar a couple times, and I would always buy him a shot because like that was my first WWE match. Him and I are going to be linked forever, whether we like it or not. We're
Yeah.
always going to be linked. But we do get along. We smile every time we see each other. We hug. I crack some jokes to him to make him laugh because he's a big teddy bear. Great guy. Um, but yeah, like I feel like they either him or AJ, you haven't seen the last of like that character coming back for like a cameo appearance with like as long as like Braun's there or AJ's there or Carmella's there, my character always has an opportunity or a chance to come back and do some kind of cameo
Yeah.
appearance with one of those three characters.
Rewind, recap, relive. For over 50 episodes, the revolutionary force in wrestling interviews.